Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public.
Hi, Hutch, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Yes.
Hello and welcome to the East Lampeter Township Public Meeting. All participants are now informed that this meeting is being recorded. This meeting is also being offered virtually utilizing Zoom, which is a cloud-based platform for remote video and audio conferencing. The Zoom application is free to the public. The general public is therefore able to join the meeting by connection through the internet or by calling in by phone. The public is also able to observe the meeting on the Township's YouTube channel. Please continue to check the Township website calendar for any updates related to these public meetings. Agendas for these public meetings will also be available on the Township's website. Please be reminded that this meeting is being video and audio recorded and will be posted to the Township's YouTube channel for viewing. The meeting will now proceed with the chairman calling the meeting to order and identifying all other members present in the meeting room and those joining the meeting via Zoom. The chairman will then confirm those members joining by Zoom can be heard.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Thank you for coming. And my name is Jim Epperhart. I'm the chairman of the board. And we have all our members here in attendance today. I'll start from the right. Diane, from my right, Diane Tyson, who's secretary of the board. Chris Chrétien, Joel Bear, and Frank Hollingsworth. And then we have township officials, Kara Hitchens, assistant township manager, and Rashana Martin. And then we have Charles Thomas, who is director of public works. Did you get that right? Oh, and Ralph. Thank you, Hutchinson. And Ralph Hutchinson, our township manager, is attending virtually. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm getting better. I'm feeling better since I've been able to return to work. So
Okay, good to see you. Good to see you.
good to be seen.
Okay, all right. And so I guess the next order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. We haven't done that before. But we are going to do that this time. So if everyone could stand. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Has everyone read the minutes of the August meeting?
Yes.
Anybody have any comments or anything? Not? Do I hear a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the August.
Okay.
And I will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, minutes are approved. Any public concerns or comments? All right. Okay, reports, recreation.
As far as I know, everything's going okay with baseball. I haven't had any comments from, I don't know if Charlie's heard anything or not. They said possibly that they were going to be here tonight about the dugouts. Have we heard any more about the plans for them, or they just kind of?
I have not heard anything from the dugouts. There was some issues with the grading of one of the ball fields, but we got that straightened out with their grounds crew. But, and I haven't heard anything from softball.
I know the girls practice Tuesday nights. That's the only time I see them. They come Tuesday nights and practice. That's basically their night to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Grounds, buildings, and trails.
Okay, a few things. Ida, the tropical storm that came through, we did have some tree tubes and such with the buffers at the parks that were damaged. Still in the process of cleaning some of that stuff up. Gibbons Park, the home, the basement was flooded. Right about 5 foot of water in the basement. Township has been hurrying to repair water heaters, and we're looking at the furnace, so forth, but there has been some damage. Other than that, the mill held up nice. Still working around the other parks because there was just a lot of damage throughout the township that we haven't had a lot of time to spend in the parks.
Okay.
I reported that the branches were on the barn at Gibbons Park at the last meeting. They have been removed. Other than that, nothing really major to report.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Any other concerns? All right. As far as old business, is there an update on any update at all on regional recreation program?
Hutch and I met with the DCNR representative as well as the peer consultant. And we were informed that was at the beginning of September. We were informed that the contract between the peer consultant and DCNR would be headed our way in a short few weeks, and we are still awaiting that. So we hope once we have that in place that we can then move forward with the steering committee from 2 to 3 people from each organization and move forward.
Okay.
Hutch, do you have anything else to add?
No, that very well sums it up. Thank you.
Okay. All right. The pavilion rental rates. Diane so graciously did such an excellent job looking through the competitive rate of the rates of other townships. Anybody have any thoughts? Any discussion that anyone would like to do to undertake here?
I did have the girls pull numbers together for the past 3 years, what the monies that was brought in from rentals. In 2019, it was a little over $15,000 was brought in. In 2020, low $7,000 was brought in. There was actually $3,700 refunded due to COVID. We were shut down for at least 3 months. Some rescheduled, but some wanted a refund. And for 2021, we are at $18,000.
Well, just from the research that I did, it's obvious that we're on the low end of all the rentals from now on. I mean, do you remember the last time we hiked them? What year? It's been maybe 3 years.
Probably at least 2 to 3 years, at least.
Yeah.
That sounds
I think
right.
it was 3, maybe closer to 3.
Yeah, it does. That's what I'm recalling. Yeah, about 3 years ago. Yeah.
So I think, I think we're due for an adjustment. I wonder, is it possible moving forward, starting in 2022, if, again, we're a little more refined data collection for us? Could a spreadsheet be made, like in terms of the number of people in a group? Like when somebody rents a pavilion, is it for 50 people or is it for 150 people?
That's all on the application.
I mean, but can we get like instead of just giving us this calendar with the name of the people and the dates they were rented, like how big was the group? Maybe I'm just curious of, if we were going to adjust, some parks adjust their rates based on capacity. But if we have no idea, again, or if we are going to build additional pavilions at some point, what is the capacity that we're looking at? I mean, so I think if we had some better data, like, starting next year, that might help us with some decision-making moving forward. So I would definitely like to know, like, how many people were in a party.
Well, the pavilions,
I kind of just did a quick, from the information you gave us last month, like, if we were going to look at, I think it's Ephrata or one of the other communities has different tiers for if they're not necessarily township or residents and non-residents, but if it was a community organization versus a business versus, like just that kind of information. Because I did notice there are definitely quite a few faith-based churches that had rented from us, a couple, CV rec, like sports organizations, and then definitely some business places, although, Clark Associates being one, well, they funded a pavilion for us. So, I mean, like, I think just better data would help us make, better decisions moving forward. I don't know if I want to break everything up along those lines, this year, but it may be moving forward, down the road, it might, if we have better data, we could make more
Well,
strategic decisions.
Every one of those pavilions that are rented has a capacity number to it. And I bet you 95% of those rentals was to capacity. So if Hyde took 150 people, there was 150 people, if not more.
Okay.
Some parties were so big, they rented the whole park. So you got to add all three of those
And that,
pavilions.
and that's another thing that again, Manheim Township charges $1,000 to rent their entire park. So that's another thing that would give us better data, if you're renting a whole park, should we be adjusting things? How much work does that make for you? What are the time rentals?
Oh,
Again,
it's going to be,
some places do them half day and half day.
it's going to be a lot of work in-house. I'll tell you
Well,
that
that's what
right
I'm
now.
saying. That's, if we had that, then we could adjust rental rates based on that, I mean, as you're doing, can't you just put that in?
Just to get that data though, for a spreadsheet is going to take a lot of work from the girls. So you break everything down, put things on calendars, everything's got to be put into Edmunds or MyGov. We've got like 3 different places we put this stuff.
If I can, I would guess that some of the data that you're looking for, we have gathered on the application. We just haven't, summarized it or displayed it in some way to make it
I'm figuring the
understand.
information, it's just not getting to us.
Yeah, and we haven't, done anything with it. We do have a lot of information on the applications, but, we have to find a way to, report that information. Or, we could just, make copies of the applications if there was someone else who wanted to plow through the information to pull all that and summarize it together.
That would be an option too, then.
Do you want me to get you copies of the applications?
Yeah, or to just come in and look, go through. I'd be curious to know like how big these groups are. And again, I'm looking at more, if we're going to build another, if we were going to put a pavilion at Lafayette or, put an additional one at Flory somewhere, like, again, how big should it be? Or where's the demand? Where do we go with that?
Yeah, and I agree with you. As I think I mentioned last time, I was trying to get some way of trying to determine if we need another pavilion. How would we know? How would we know for sure that we need another pavilion? If, is there, and that's where we were asking about turning people away and things like that. It sounds like, I think kind of came to the conclusion, we're certainly not after, we can't do it on last year's figures because last year was certainly an anomaly. But this year, the question is, would we need, based on what we did this year, is that something we should consider going forward? And that doesn't presume that I know the answer to that. I'm just saying that I'm wondering if we should consider that or something.
Just looking at all the information that I forwarded to everybody and then looking at the rentals, I'm wondering if it it would be advisable to have like a weekday rental rate and then a weekend rental rate. And that possibly could encourage more people to, if they're looking, if price is a factor, it might make them look at more doing things during the week. It looks like May was a very, there was a lot of rentals in the middle of the week in May. And then it just kind of drops off and a couple in June, but then in the summer, there really isn't as many. So I'm wondering if, maybe that might be a direction where you might want to go, is have like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday rate, and then a Friday, Saturday, Sunday rate.
A lot of those ones during the week are businesses. There's a lot of business pictures back here and they have that during the week. I think that's probably,
That's what I was thinking, because I noticed there was a real crowd there. I think it was a week ago today. There was, there was almost no parking spaces available.
Right, and I was wondering that Kathy's Circle of Friends, is that a nonprofit? Is that just a, there was a couple that I weren't sure if they were businesses or,
that
you know.
was tied into
And that's
Kathy-
not a question we ask on the application.
Yeah,
that was tied into Kathy's Primitives. She helps
That's what I
disabled
thought.
people and disabled children. There's a whole group that she helps disabled people.
yeah,
And
I mean,
there was
and they had.
the disabled people and their helpers and everybody was there all that
Yeah.
night.
And
That's
again,
where that was from.
there's, and I forget if it was Ephrata or Manheim Township, that if you would have a certain capacity, there was an extra fee. Like they took into account the parking issue, and they capped rental, at a certain thing because of parking, or if they needed to have township personnel to help manage parking, because the group being so large. Is that something that should factor into our discussions? Should there be, if it, again, two organizations, I think it's Paradise and Manheim, do morning, like a 8 to 2 and then a 3 to closing, there's pros and cons to that.
We don't have the personnel to clean up.
Right, and I mean, that would be, they manage, I don't know, we don't have that, but I mean, there are a lot of different entities doing things, way different than us. So I think I definitely think we need to increase our fees. The question is, again, are there other changes we want to, do we want to base them on capacity on Pavilion? Are the fees based on capacity or are they just flat? Doesn't matter if you have 50 people or 150 people. Should we do a security deposit? There's multiple places that do security deposits.
Then you're getting into the paperwork in the office to,
And again, it's just,
Your cost versus your,
how other people are doing it. I'm just, that's why I got the information.
they might have more help, as far as their overhead might be, they might have more people working in the office there than we have, which, what's the cost versus the benefit factor, basically, someone that, I've seen no problem with increasing their fees this time. We're going to join together with Upper Lake Hawk, right? See, their fees are a little bit more than ours. We will match theirs or even a little bit higher, whatever. I saw that Upper Lake Hawk 75 and 100. I would have mine 75 or something, 100, 105, 110, for non-residents, since residents local. But a lot of those things, half-day rentals and stuff. I know even Troy, the mess that people are leaving in the pavilion now through all this pandemic, people are coming out there expecting a lot more and they just could care less about things. The mess that they have to clean up back there some days is astronomical.
oh, it takes hours. It takes hours.
I went back there Monday morning, it was terrible. There were paper cups all over the place. Not paper cups, plastic cups all over the place. They had balloons and glitter and everything all over the place. They were back there for a couple hours, up to one pavilion.
And people might be more careful if they were going to lose a security deposit because of that.
The administrative fees for that, just how much of the security deposit you have to do and how much administration costs me to refund the money,
But then you got people renting that will say, well, it was clean
wasn't
when I
me.
left.
There's even the possibility, I know Manheim Township, I'm saying Manheim Township, a lot of places now, but you bring it, you take it with you. They don't even have trash cans in a lot of the parks.
I
Mhm.
know.
Manheim Township's that way, Manheim Township's want to clean the parks you want to get in, once you get into it, there isn't a trash can in any Manheim Township park.
I noticed that.
Well, all state parks are like that too.
Yeah, that might be something to consider, that they bring them in. That's just, it gets out of control sometimes. Never got to pick up the chicken feathers and go.
Charlie, what is your opinion on some type of, tiered rental system? From when you hear that, are you hearing, okay, this is more work?
That's first thing.
It's more work for an extra $20.
I would invite any one of you to come and answer a phone
Yeah.
for about 2 weeks to try to,
Okay,
the questions that come out, where's the park even at? Just
Yeah.
which one's which? I mean, the girls could spend, the ladies could spend 20 minutes on a phone with somebody that says, okay, I'll get back to you if I want it then.
The other thing is actually programming the changes into the permitting software. And that's all done in-house, mainly by me. So that does take a good bit of work to make those kind of changes. They can be done. It's just we do all the programming ourselves.
And that's helpful to hear, because that would have been my assumption. I think my vote would be, let's just move rates. Let's increase rates and figure out a dollar amount. And then, hey, to another year, if we can get some volunteer labor to collect a little bit more data, and we know there's more to look at in another year, great. But just for now, the next step would just be increasing rates in a way that it's clear, not adding more legwork than more labor than necessary.
Okay, what about charging additional fees? Again, several places do it for volleyball and baseball access. I mean, again, we're a public park, so that should be open to everybody. If you want exclusive use for it, should you pay extra for that?
Well, I mean, I guess the main thing is then, if somebody else is using it, when you show up and you pay for it, then you've got to kind of, you've got to figure that out too. Kicking somebody else out, and we have this reserve,
Well, other places do it pretty easily.
Yeah, no,
I mean, that's
I'm
just,
just-
it's not,
Yeah,
we're not doing anything that's going against, wouldn't be doing anything going against the grain other places.
yeah. And the only other thing I'm thinking about is I'm also wondering, if we could, to what extent, ultimately, if there is going to be a regional recreation entity at some point, would some of these record keeping and, recording functions go to that body and and they might be better equipped to handle that information and to do that kind of, charging people and, collecting fees and doing things like that.
I'm sure that's what Manhattan Township does. They have a whole staff in Manhattan Township that does that under their recreation commission. When you don't go to the township office, I don't think you get your permit from there. I think you go.
Right.
You get
to the
stop for
rec-
parking.
You go to the park. So I think that's all the kind of stuff that would go at that point. If we want to discuss that every day point and see what's going on.
I mean, that occurs to me that it's like, that we've taken a great first step by researching this. Thank you. And once again, thank you, Diane, for that. And the question is, if we've got some logistical problems about handling it right now, what we could do is say, well, hey, we're going to bump it up a certain amount right now, but what we're going to do is come, raise the expectation that we will start to add some of those fees when we have the staff to be able to make it happen. Okay. I didn't mean to stop the discussion.
No, that's good. That's good.
does anybody want to put a motion? I mean, well, I guess we decided we need to approve this in October. We don't have. to
Correct.
approve it
We can,
this
this
time.
is just discussion, I think.
And, maybe we ought to just, if we can continue just a little bit further, what are we talking about in, as far as an increase in rates right now? What are we thinking?
Ours are 65 and 95, I would say at least, since we're going to be with Upper Lake Hawk, maybe go up $10, go up to 75 for a resident.
But see, they might be raising it next year. We don't
Yeah,
know.
But
You
we
only-
can't make a huge jump now. Make a $10 jump on each of them, I'd say right now, maybe, they go up. That'd be my
I would go
suggestion.
higher. I'd go higher than
20
that. I'd go 85 for resident and at least 100 for non-resident.
Yeah,
Given where everybody else in the county is, I think that's still reasonable.
yeah, and I think, I agree with that, where everyone's at. And as far as if this is a time that there is money flowing freely, that if we're gonna make I would call that somewhat of a substantial jump, this is the year to do that.
And it hasn't been done for 3 years. So that's the other thing. And I could see if we were upping it a little bit every year, but we haven't done it for 3 years. So that's where I would say 85 and 100 would be my suggestion.
Frankly, you
100
think?
would only take non-resident up to $5.
I'll go 125. I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
You're going to bump up the resident 20, bump the other one up 22, I'd say probably.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
All right.
I'd actually pay with 15 right now, so that's up to you.
I mean, that's just, we don't have to make a decision when you can mull it over for a month, but that's what.
I mean, yeah, we don't have to make a decision tonight, but then again, I'm not going to stop anybody if they want to put a motion in and resolve it now. So it's up to you guys.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'll make a motion to raise the resident rates to 85, and Dan, would you say the non-resident 1?
Well, I say 100, but no, I'd go higher because it's 95 now, so.
Okay, go 110.
You still be raising the residents more than the non-residents at that
Okay.
point.
120, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, and make a motion, raise resident rates to 85, non-resident to 120.
I second that motion.
Okay. So we have on the floor, all in favor?
May I ask a question?
Oh, sure.
I don't remember, but for some reason, I'm thinking that we had slightly different rates for different pavilions. Isn't this one a slightly lower charge?
Now, which is one of the suggestions that I kind of had on my list to do, should we charge by capacity versus, but right now it's a flat 65 for resident and 95 for non-resident.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
You said 120, right? For non.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're done. You got approved. Thank you, everyone. So any other old business? Okay, public comment.
I have no public comment by email, and there is also none by chat.
Okay,
Something under new business. Just wanted to bring to your attention, we do have a meeting tomorrow on the trail from Strasburg Pike to Oakview Road.
And then north on Oakview Road to Route 30. And that was part of the smart growth transportation funds that were received by the township
Before
through the
COVID.
MTO prior to COVID. And that is part of the Route 30 streetscape.
So the
Study.
our kickoff meeting, the engineers are tomorrow.
Oh,
So the process is going to be started on that. That's going to go from Strasburg Pike along Walmart's property over the hill to Oakview and then up Oakview.
wow. And when is that meeting?
Sometime tomorrow.
It's tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. Awesome.
The side of Oakview is one, the side that's vacant right now, I guess, probably. Go across Oakview and
I'm sorry, Chris.
what side of the road going out there?
It's going to stay on this, on the side of,
It'll be a side that's vacant
Gates.
now there where they tore Howard Johnson's down in that side, the other side.
It'll be on the west side of Oakview Road.
Oh, okay, so it'll come up
the
alongside.
the old Kmart side. That way pedestrians don't have to cross down at the
Okay.
Greenland Drive.
When we're by McDonald's customers.
Is that just to actually start mapping out the thing, or is it, when do you expect dirt to be like actual construction?
This is
Spring?
just design at this point.
Oh, we're still in the
Yeah.
design.
Yeah, we were awarded money 2 years ago,
In 2019.
but they put a freeze on everything because of COVID. So finally starting to move forward.
The other,
Okay. Good, thank you. As I
Go
say,
ahead, Hutch had
Has one
something.
more thing.
the other trail news to report would be related to the Greater Lancaster Heritage Pathway, which is the trail that's to be parallel to the Walnut Street extension on the GO path, for lack of a better description. We're confident now that the funding is going to be available through PennDOT, and that'll be constructed at the same time that the Walnut Street extension is constructed, which we expect to start sometime, maybe a year from now and take about 18 months to construct. So that's moving forward.
oh, that's very exciting. Very exciting, good. All right. Anything else, anybody? wants to do? Okay. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
Right. Okay, thank you. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you, Hutch.
Yeah, I hope we see you in the flesh soon. So, cool.
Me too.
All right.